Thank you. Hey, Jeff. Just a question. I'm curious as to what you thought of Angsler's performance from half to half. I mean, she was in foul trouble.
Well, she got in foul trouble the first half, so I'm not sure there was much to evaluate.
Sure. But what did you make of how she responded in the second?
I thought she played well. She hit a huge three for us there when they went up 6. We were able to cut that to 3, called a timeout, kind of regrouped, and then went on a run. She makes 2 huge free throws. She comes up with a huge steal. As I think it was maybe a 4-point game at the time, or a 5, and she stepped up and made free throws. I thought she played really, really well, and I was excited for her.
Are there other questions for Kianna?
Nobody cares.
Okay. Thank you. Coach, would you care to make any opening remarks?
No.
Right to questions.
Take no questions. When you stutter, you don't need to make opening remarks.
Jeff, Doug Feinberg, the AP. It's been rare you've come up here and won against UConn. I think you've had good success in this tournament.
What's your definition of rare? Like it hasn't happened before? Would that be rare?
Yes.
So you would be correct on that. Yeah.
You've beaten them before though at your place. Is it nice to get that
Once.
monkey off your back?
Once. Yeah. Doug, it's I know everybody's going to say they're shorthanded and everything, and they've had some injuries. There's no question about that. But they're still a pretty good ball club. And I was really pleased with how we fought, how we hung in there. We took their punch in the first quarter, and instead of panicking, just continued to execute, continued to compete, and got it back to where it was a 7-point game. At the end of the first quarter, we scored 9 points, and then we started to get some things in transition. We had some big baskets. Alana Smith played a great first half for us. Played a great game for us. And then, Kianna Smith made some big-time shots as well in that third quarter when we were just chipping away. But to come up here and get a win, I mean, it's nice. It's a great way to go home for the break and have a nice Christmas.
Carl Adamek, Journal Enquirer. Sorry about that, Jeff. Haley Van Lith has not shot the ball well from 3, at least according to your stat sheet. What does it say about her to come in and make 2 huge threes down the stretch and, just the toughness of the kind of player she is?
Yeah, she hasn't shot the ball well in games. She shot it well in practice. So when she's open, I'm telling her to shoot because she is making them in practice. And that's one of those things. It'd be different if she wasn't making them in practice. And then I always joke with my kids, there's a reason you're open most of the time. They're not guarding you. But for Haley, she's had success. She shot it at about 40% during the NCAA tournament last year. So I think it was more of a matter of just seeing one go in, and then she did. And she's actually the last 4 games has shot it much better from behind the 3-point line. So I was proud of her. I mean, she's got confidence. That's what I like.
Jeff, you mentioned the lack of success up in Connecticut. They come out and score 12 of the first 14 points. What is it about the mentality of your team that lets you not, say, oh, my gosh, here we go again?
Well, it's just something that we've talked about. It's, that's what they do. They're really efficient. They come out and punch you in the nose, and then you've got to be able to, take a few steps back, but then regroup and keep competing. And that's what we did. And we needed a few shots to go in. We rushed some shots early. We weren't on balance. I think we were 1 for our first 9 from the field. So I was just like, just keep taking good shots. Because I tell my kids all the time, if we lose because we miss open shots and good shots, that's just the way it is. You want to win every game, there's no question. But at the same time, if I'm going to lose, let's have it just be because we miss shots, not because we turn the ball over, we don't box out, things that you can control.
Jeff, Don Amori from the Hartford Courant. When the injury happened a couple of weeks ago, Gino had said he doesn't like the way his team looks without Paige. For preparing for them and playing them, what does UConn look like without Paige, through your eyes?
Well, obviously, Paige shoots the basketball well. AZ does also. I mean, they've got two kids that can shoot the three and spread things out and stretch things. But now they just don't shoot it as well. So you're able to pack in more. You're able to help off and try and help on their post players. But I've got to give Caroline played a great game today. I thought she was absolutely fantastic. I mean, she willed herself to some buckets and just was stronger than we were at times, and really did an outstanding job. But overall, I thought without those two, you've got the ability to try to pack things in a little bit more, but it still really didn't help as much on the rebounding front as they crushed us on the offensive glass. But overall, just really, really proud of how Olivia Cochran competed. I thought Liz Dixon played well. So it was a team effort without a doubt.
Jeff, I know you are aware of what's going on around the country with teams bringing on pause again and things that we weren't really expecting to have to deal with in 2021 and 2022. You started your text chain last year to try to get games for everybody. I don't know what your protocols are.
COVID protocols. Gotcha.
With Christmas coming up, and are you concerned that you guys have to go back to what maybe you did last year as far as that, even though people are probably vaccinated?
There's really not much we can do to control all of that. Our team is very smart. They've done a great job of trying to not put themselves in positions to where they might, be vulnerable to getting the virus. Now if it happens, it happens. That's why I tell people all the time. I mean, you can't go live in a bubble. So our players have done a really nice job. Our entire program, our group, we are all vaccinated. But there's no guarantee you aren't going to get it. I think that's what everybody thought was going to happen, and that's just not the case, as we all know. And I think it's going to be interesting now with leagues are we going to continue with it's a forfeit if you can't play, or are we going to try to reschedule games? Because there's part of me that thinks, you did this at the beginning saying you're going to have to forfeit to possibly encourage teams to get vaccinated. Well, I think we have a lot of our clubs in the ACC that are fully vaccinated. And then all of a sudden, if somebody gets it, now is it you really want them to have to forfeit and take an L? So I'm waiting to see if we have follow-up conversations on that, because I do think that really needs to be readdressed and try and figure out, let's play the games if we can, even if we have to move them, because it worked. I mean, is it an inconvenience? Is it a pain in the rear? Yes. But at the end of the day, do you really want to have to give a team a loss because of COVID? And then all of a sudden, is that loss going to impact you come March? So if I'm one win short of being able to get in the tournament, and you look at it, you're like, he had to forfeit 2 games because of COVID. So those are things that I hope we might revisit and see what we can figure out.
Right here again.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm curious as to what you made of how Dorka Juhas has come out and played the past couple of games for UConn. I mean, I know you all have someone who's a transfer as well in Angsler. So I'm just curious as to how difficult it is to make that transition from program to program, and sort of what have you seen with Emily, and what is that process mentally like for a player?
Well, we have 2 of them in Chelsea Hall and Emily. And, it's one of those, we talk with our kids before we even take a transfer. Hey, here's what we're looking to do. And I'm not saying what they say is going to dictate what's going to happen. But I do like to give them the knowledge, hey, we're looking at possibly adding Emily Angsler and Chelsea Hall. Here's why. So our kids know. and they have been fantastic with embracing them. Trying to get a feel for each other on the court, who does what well. And then with Dorka, we played them two years ago at Ohio State when she was at Ohio State, and they beat us, and she had like 25 on us. So I'm quite aware of how talented she is, and she's played really well for them.
We have time for one more question.
Hi, Jeff. Howard Magdalene next. Good to see you.
Hey, Howard.
Just in terms of Haley and her shooting issues that you've been talking about, what have you seen as a means of getting a player who's shooting well in practice to shoot well in games? Is there a method that you tend to use, and how confident are you that she's going to find that range simply by virtue of the fact that she's performing so well in practice for you?
Yeah, I mean, if there was a method to it, I wouldn't be coaching, because I would sell that and I could make millions. It's hard work does not guarantee you success. I mean, that's part of life. But when you see a kid in the gym over and over and over, and they have a routine, this is what they do, and I don't worry about it. Like, they're going to go in. The game of basketball is all about stats. I joke with my kids all the time. If I'm 5 for 5 in a game and you're 0 for 5 and we're both 50% shooters, who do you want to take the last shot? And they're like, well, the one that's 5 for 5. I'm like, not me. Statistically, you're going to miss. 0 for 5 statistically is going to make. And that's the kind of the mentality that I try to talk to them about. I wasn't a very good college basketball player. Only played for a few years. But I used to tell them in warm-ups, man, if I was missing shots, I was like, God, this is great. I'm going to make them all in the game. And then if you were making them all in warm-ups, you're like, okay, I'm hot. It's all about a mindset. And she's very positive. She's confident because she's put in the work. Yes.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll take one last question on Zoom. CJ?
Hey, Jeff, it's Cameron from the Courier Journal. Can you hear me?
Cameron.
Yeah, so I'm curious. I know, obviously, this will end your non-con schedule. You have 3 wins against top 15 teams in non-con and won 10 in a row. What did you learn the most about this group from that Arizona game in South Dakota to where you're at now?
Well, I've learned that we are a ball club who will try to defend. That's something. Even offensively, when we weren't playing very well in that first quarter, we held them to 16 points. The second quarter, we held them to 12. So we didn't play great offensively, but defensively, we continue to compete and play hard. So we're going to have to get better and more efficient at the offensive end. I was pleased with the fact that we did not turn the ball over a ton today. And then we're going to have to keep working on boxing out, especially when you play some teams that are bigger. We can't give up as many second chance opportunities as they were able to get.